That's a good one. That's a good one. I got a good one, son. I got a good one. Yes, sir. That's what we're talking about. Big old frogfish. Well, folks, today I'm going to try to show you a few things about frog fishing. And I'm going to show you the ABCs of frog fishing. And that's the kind of bass we're talking about, son. That's the kind of bass we're talking about. Big giant bass like this one. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about. Just like this one right here. It's early in the morning. Heavy braid. Big old 7 or 8 pound bass. That's the kind of bass we're talking about, son. That is a trophy fish and a half. So today, I'm going to show you how to catch these monster bass. These are great big toads of a fish. There's 5 or 6 cardinal rules, 5 or 6 tips that I want to impress on you so that you too can catch these really big fish. So I tell you, YouTubers, stay tuned because I tell you, I'm going to weigh this one right now. Look at that, 8 pounds right on the nose. See that, 8 pounds? Look at that, 8 pounds. 8 pounds, 8 pounds, can you see that? Okay, folks. Hey, is that ever a nice fish? That is an 8 pound bass. 8 pounds on the scale. Son, that's a trophy. Okay, let's talk just for a second. That's really a good fish. Let's talk for a second about the 5 or 6 things that I want to talk to you today about. Starting off with the right location, starting out with the right water clarity, starting off with the right tackle, starting off with the right hook sets, starting off with the right frog. There's a whole list of really important things to do. Okay, let's talk about conditions. First of all, it's early in the morning, it's low light, so that's one good thing, low light. So in the middle of the day, you might have low light in the form of these overhang, these lily pads. They could be in that area. Okay, so as long as you have overhead cover and shade, low light's a big deal. The second thing that's important just about conditions are the fairly clear water. You notice how clear this water is? If you look down in the water, you can see that frog down 3 or 4 feet, and it's underneath the water good. So they can see it pretty good. Okay, along with those water and cover conditions, you need the right kind of cover. I have lily pads here, that's one thing. I have hydrilla, that's another thing. I even have some pepper grass, which is the third thing. And there's some reeds and stuff. So there's 4 or 5 different types of good overhead cover that those fish can hide in. So that's part of the pattern again, having the right water and cover conditions. And then finally, the right water temperature. You want the right water temperature, you have the right clarity, you have the right sun and the right light, but the water temperature is so important. If it's below 65 degrees, they don't bite that good. When it's above 65, like right now, it's like 80-degree water temperature. That's really a perfect temperature for the frog. Okay, now there's several different kind of frogs, but I'll get into that later. Let's go catch another one. Now, one thing I noticed about that last really big one, he was on a little isolated spot. Now here's like a little isolated patch of grass, and that's the kind of thing he was on. The upcurrent side of that, the upwind side of that, like right there. I'll slow it down. Notice I pause it every once in a while. Along like that. Pause it again. 8 pound bass. Boy, that's a trophy and a half, son. That's what I want to show you how to catch today. There's 4 or 5 different things that I think are really important with frog fishing, and I'm going to cover them in pretty good detail today. We started with the water conditions. Low light, early in the morning, clear water, water temperature about 80, not too windy. That's the other thing I wanted to mention. You don't want a whole lot of wind. Just a little bit of wind, that's fine. There's one. I got one. What I did, I paused them. I was going to tell you that's a big deal. Pausing just for a second. See, a lot of times they'll chase after it. They get right behind it like this one. And I being observant, I could kind of see that the water was moving a little bit. So I dropped it back and just stopped it for a second. And this beautiful, good adult fish hit the frog like he was supposed to on the pause. Okay. So that's a lesson in itself. Pausing the bait. Now I'm using a fast moving frog, and there's 2 or 3 different frogs that I'm going to use today. So that's just one of them. This is a buzz frog, and it's good for covering a lot of water early. Now as it gets tougher in the day and I have to go into the weeds more and the sun gets up, I might go to just a regular popping frog. And I might not cover this open water like I'm covering right now. So what I did then on the last fish, okay, I threw it out there, nice long cast. I started rowing along. Maybe I'll get somebody's attention. I'll get somebody's attention, run it for 5 or 6 feet and stop it for a second. No? Sometimes they attack it right then. Run it along like that, stop it. He didn't hit it. Oh. The old buzz frog. There's some nice sized fish. I tell you, frog fishing in general produces some of the better fish. I'm talking about really big fish. Nice ones. I just saw a swirl right here, just a little bit farther. It might have been a bass, it might have been a gar, but right in here, something swirled right there, but it might have been a gar. Didn't hit it. Now here's another tip. This is a big tip. Being observant when you're frog fishing. Okay, that's a really huge part of it, because that one big fish, well, even a couple of them, I saw the wake and I stopped at one, or that 3 or 4 pounder. I stopped it just in time because I saw them waking after it. Okay, and so it's so important to see these fish before they hit. Sometimes they'll come up to it and they won't hit it, but by the time you stop it, and if you're really observant, you can catch those fish. But you have to be able to see the little wakes and see the little movement in the water. And watch for all sorts of movement. Look for little minnows jumping. Look for any kind of movement. And that's what you want to throw to. Now, let me give you another tip. It's just a huge tip about frog fishing. Dean Rojas, the guy that invented or designed the bronze eye frog fish Spro, and I'll be using one of those in a little bit. Anyway, Dean uses braid, 65-pound braid. Okay, Ish Monroe, one of the top tournament fishermen in the country, he loves frog fishing. He's one of the best frog fishing ever. He uses nothing but braid, 65-pound braid. I can go on and on and on, and I can tell you all the guys, everybody has gone away from monofilament. It used to be 30 years ago, before there was braid, we'd all use 20 and 25-pound monofilament. Not anymore. We don't do that. It's all braid, 100% braid. And don't go anything less than 50. I know it sounds crazy. Everybody can say, why do you fool with, you're fooling with 4 and 5 and 6 pound bass and you're using 50-pound line? It's not the issue. The issue is getting them out of the heavy cover, number one. Oh, there's a fish behind mine. I don't know if he'll hit it or not. Getting them out of the heavy cover is one issue. It's probably a gar. But the other issue is just being able to set the hook. You can set the hook so well. In fact, I've been with Dean and those guys and had as much as 9 out of 10 successful strikes. 9 out of 10 hookups out of 10 strikes. 9 out of 10. So that can be a wonderful average if you have the right equipment. Okay, so on this rod, I have 65-pound braid. That's an 8-to-1 reel. That's a Johnny Morris Platinum Series reel. And this is my favorite rod. This is that Emperor Series flipping stick. And this is a 7-foot 3-inch. And this is a medium heavy, 7'3" medium heavy. I use it to flip with, but it's perfect for a frog. 7'3". I just love a 7'3". It gives me 2 hands, and I can throw it a long ways with 2 hands. That's that number one. And by having a long rod, I can also put it in my stomach here, and I have more leverage that way. So that's a big deal. Nice bass too. Daggone it, he was right there. go slow and easy, right? Oh, I got him, son, I got him. That was beautiful. Did you see how he hit? I had to kind of slow down to get him. I saw him hit in there, and I went back after him. Beautiful strike. That's a beautiful deal. And that's what frog fishing is all about, that visual action. Having those fish come back a second time and exploding, that was just perfect. You couldn't ask for a better scenario. Okay. I'm giving you some good tips on catching fish, I tell you that. See how thick that is right there? Now, when the sun gets up a little bit higher, these real thick spots like this can really be good. Ooh, there's a fish underneath mine. I got him. Big bass. He hit right underneath. He hit, I just saw him. I saw that was a perfect example of what you have to do. You have to see him like this. And I saw that fish come up just ever so slightly. I could barely see him. Big old 7 or 8 pounder. And that's what it takes, son. Oh gosh. That's another big one. Not quite as big as that 8 pounder, but close to it. The whole thing was observation. I saw the little swirl come up behind it. And what I did, I just stopped it and just twitched it along and twitched it along and twitched it along. And beautiful, nice big bass. Hit that thing. Oh, what a deal. Well, I'm showing you the ABCs of frog fishing. I'm really covering some good territory. The white seems to be the best color for today. I'm going to change colors here in a minute. Observations paid off. Pausing it at the right time has paid off. You know, everything so far with this cloudy day has been a banner day for big giant bass on the frog. What a day. I'm going to try another frog. Over the years, I've used this Spro Bronzeye series frog. This is what they call, I guess, the jungle pattern or something, I don't know. But anyway, it's kind of white. And I started using it about 10 years ago because it was white, and the camera, doing film work, I could follow it pretty easy on the camera, but in the process, it's just a good frog. It's a big, full-bodied, hollow-bodied frog by Spro. It's their signature series. It's their #1 frog. For years, this has been my favorite frog. It's called the Bronzeye series. Sometimes these little legs get all pulled together, so it's a good idea to kind of. Now I told you about the hooks. I've bent those hooks out just a little bit. In fact, I might just bend these out just a little bit more because that's a big deal. Having the frog ready to go with the right hook complement is really important. It's a tip that can't be ignored. Get the hooks away from the body just a little teeny bit, and that can be a real plus. Okay. Now, these frog tips, I'm telling you, you can't take a lot of shortcuts when you're fishing heavy-duty stuff like this. When you're dealing with big 7 and 8 pound bass and heavy cover, you can't take a shortcut. But this frog, I've caught so many monster bass on this frog. It's really something. This is called the Bronzeye 65 series. It's their #1 frog. I got him. I got him. Here's why you can't compromise. You can't compromise on tackle like this because what you're doing is you're pulling nice big bass out of stuff, big heavy cover like this right here. That's why you can't compromise. You can't compromise when you're having a great big giant bass up to 8 pounds like we've caught today. Big, beautiful adult fish like this. And that one just ate that bronzeye frog up. A beautiful, beautiful 4-pound fish. It's just a gorgeous fish. Just a gorgeous fish. Throw him back. Okay. Again, you didn't see the strike, but what I was doing, you saw me set the hook. The main thing is when he hit it, again a tip, when he hit it, okay, I had it out there, and when he hit it, I dropped it like this and I loaded up on him. So I didn't just set the hook with it, with my rod up like that. Anyway, that was a good deal. Boy, that's a good looking spot there. I got one. I got one. I got one. Yes, sir. I got one. Can't compromise tackle. You can't compromise tackle. You gotta have tackle. Tackle's the deal. Big heavy tackle like this is the deal. Another big old giant fish. Not as big as some of them, but it's pretty big. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. The regular bronzeye series. Okay, well, I've told you a lot of good tips today. You know, and here it is in the middle of the day, and we're still catching quality bass. Now I'm gonna let this thing kind of swing around this way and see if I can't get another one over here. Well, YouTubers, I hope I've taught you a few things. I mean, I really showed you a couple of the big tips about frog fishing, having the right conditions, having the right tackle, having braid, adjusting the hooks properly, having that backup with that Senko, that's a big deal. And just being observant, just looking for fish as they come by and capitalize on any kind of little wake that you might see. So listen, I've really enjoyed this YouTubing, and I enjoy teaching you guys. And listen, I post every Wednesday about 6 o'clock and every Sunday about 6 o'clock. And on Fridays, I do a little what's up, Roland, kind of a day, what's happening, Roland, kind of a recap for the week. So that's the 3 times I post a week. So I really appreciate you watching, and hope you subscribe. Thank you, and we'll see you again soon.